Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Um, today is of course Wednesday, October 1st. So we're of course officially we're 3/4 of the way through the year. I know we're a tad late tonight, but at least we're not an hour late like last night. Was able to get everything done, even though I had kind of a busy day. I had a dental appointment and all that. So, and then then basically it was kind of tuckered a little bit this afternoon. So I had to even take a nap. So, anyways, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, here's what's on tap on the first day of October of 2025 here. Um, Tonight we're gonna kind of continue the trend over the last couple of days here of uh, kind of going over the history of animation. Last night we did Studio Pero. Tonight we're gonna focus in on the granddaddy of them all, Toei Animation. So we'll be looking at Toei Animation, looking at its history, looking at some of its more well-known, famous works, and then from there, of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up, get all caught up on last night's NXT and some news coming out for next week's. Well, now what is being called Showdown as opposed to Invasion. We'll get into that a bit. Also, we're going to be looking ahead to tonight's AW Dynamite, see how they're continuing to build. As WWE builds towards Grand Jewel in Perth. Um, Not this weekend, but next weekend. Um, of course, also next weekend. So next Saturday is Grand Jewel from Perth, and then next Sunday, of course, TNA will be having its Bound for Glory pay per view on the 12th. And then I believe a week after that, I believe I don't know if it would be the eight. I think actually the 6 days after that, AEW will be having Wrestle Dream. So, but with all that being said, we'll get all caught up on all the latest in terms of professional wrestling, and then we will wrap things up with this day in each history on this first day of October, 2025. So, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started here? Let's get right into the our article here for tonight, which is we're going to look back, as I said, on the history of Toei Animation. So let's get some of the basics out of the way first before we read more into the information here. Now, when I see their logo there, the logo they've been using since 1981, couldn't think of what that thing was. Obviously that's the cowboy hat, but I'm thinking it's a muskrat. I think, but if anybody knows what that is and wants to and can tell me, that'd be appreciated too. But I'm thinking that's a muskrat. So I'm thinking their logo is a muskrat cowboy. So the native name and Romanized name Toei Animation Kabushiki Gaisha, formerly Japan Animated Film, from 1948 to 1956. Public company, Industry Animation Studio. The company was actually founded back in 77 years ago today, on January 23rd, 1948. Founded by Kenzo Matsuoka and Sanai Yamamoto. Headquarters is in Nakano, Tokyo, Japan. Um, has a number of locations worldwide. Key people include, of course, Kozo Morishima, the chairman, President Kazushiro Takagi. And of course, the owners are spread out like 4 different companies, including Toei Company Limited, which has the largest share at 34.2%. TV Asahi Corporation, 20%. Fuji Media Holdings, 8.3%. And Bandai Namco, 2.8%. So, anyways, and Toei Animation Incorporated is a subsidiary of it for the U.S. and LA market. So, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at Toei Animation. And again, a friendly reminder to everybody, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Let me just see if there's any comments on. Right, that goes for both my YouTube and my Rumble audience. So let's get into this then. Alrighty then. So, all right. So Toei Animation Company Limited is a Japanese. So I guess in the Japanese form, it's Toei Animation Kabushiki Gaisha. Is a Japanese animation studio primarily controlled by its namesake Toei Company. It was originally founded on January 23rd, 1948, as Japanese animated films by Kenzo Matsuoka and Sanai Yamamoto. The studio is known for producing numerous series, including Sally the Witch, series, the Gi no Kitaro series, Mazinger Z, Galaxy Express 999, the Cutie Honey series, the Dr. Slump series, which of course gave us the Dragon Ball series as well, Dragon Ball franchise, the Saint Seiya series, Sailor Moon, Slam Dunk, Digimon, One Piece, Magical Do-Re-Mi, Toriko, World Trigger, Pretty Cure series, among others. Aside from animation production, the company handles character licensing and oversees distribution and sales of its titles through its wholly owned international subsidiaries. Much like we saw with Studio Pero as well. Right, continuing on here, let's see. Toei Animation is headquartered in Nakano, Tokyo, with its studios in Higashi Shioizumi, Narima, Japan, Tokyo, which also houses the Toei Animation Museum. Toei also has an overseas studio in the Philippines known as Animation Films. Pero, the protagonist of the studio's 1969 film adaptation of Puss in Boots, serves as the mascot. Okay, so that's what it is. It's Pero. Okay, so looked like a muskrat to me, but I guess it's a cat. All right. Early history. The studio was founded by animators Kenzo Matsuoka and Sanai Yamamoto in 1948 as Japanese animated films. In Japanese terms, Nihon Goga Eiga, often shortened to Nichido Eiga. In 1956, Toei purchased the studio, and it was renamed Toei Animation Company Limited. Toge Doga Kabushiki Gaisha Doga is Japanese for video, and in some extent, animation. In 1998, the Japanese name was renamed to match the English name. It has created a number of TV series and movies and adapted Japanese comics as animated series. Of course, the term that they use for comics in Japan is manga. So, with comic creators being called mangakas. Many popular worldwide. Hayao Miyazaki, Isao Takahata, Yasuji Mori, Leiji Matsumoto. Now, of course, Hayao Miyazaki is the guy who went on to form Studio Ghibli. Isao Takahata, I don't know off the top of my head. Yasuji Mori. Leiji Matsumoto gave us the Leiji verse. That's basically Captain Harlock. And the Captain Harlock franchise there. And Yoichi Kotabe have worked with the company. Toei was a shareholder in the Japanese anime satellite television network Animax, with other anime studios and production companies such as Sunrise, TMS Entertainment, and Nihon Ad Systems Incorporated. Yeah, what better way to get your product out there than to own the platform that shows it, right? Of course, the thing is that here in the States, they might not look too kindly on that because that might go against our anti-monopoly laws if we're not careful. Hey, Fishozo, thanks for dropping in. Again, if you haven't already, you can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that being said, let's get back to the article here then. Although the Toei company usually contracts Toei Animation to handle the animation internally for some of their works, they occasionally hire other companies to provide animation, although the Toei company produced the Robot Romance Trilogy, Sunrise, then known as Nippon Sunrise, provided the animation. Toei company would also enlist the help of other studios, such as hiring Academy Productions to produce the animation for Space Emperor God Sigma, rather than use their own studio. Since 1962, Toei Animation uses its own production offices rather than using Toei's television division. Toei Animation's anime, which have won the Anime Grand Prix Award, are Galaxy Express 999 in 1981, Saint Seiya in 1987, and Sailor Moon in 1992. In addition to producing anime for release in Japan, Toei Animation began providing animation for American films and television series during the 1960s and particularly during the 1980s. Yeah. Yeah, I think in the 1980s there was a lot of collaborative works between Japanese animation studios and American animation studios. There was a lot of that going on back in the 80s, I believe. Which, of course, gave it, for those of us who grew up in the 80s, that gave us some classics, to go back and look upon. Anyways, latest history and ransomware attack. In October 2021, Toei Animation, so they jumped all the way from the 80s to 2020s, okay. In October 2021, Toei Animation announced that they had signed a strategic partnership with the South Korean entertainment conglomerate CJN. On March 6, 2022, an incident occurred in which an unauthorized third party attempted to hack Toei Animation's network. I do remember hearing about this. I know a number of commentators like Yellow Flash, Hero Hey, we're all talking about this as well. And I do remember hearing about this a bit, which resulted in the company's online store and internal systems becoming temporarily suspended. The company investigated the incident and stated that the hack would affect the broadcast schedules of several anime series, including One Piece, in addition, Dragon Ball Super Hero was also rescheduled to June 11, 2022 due to the hack. On April 6, 2022, Toei Animation announced that it would resume broadcasting the anime series, including One Piece. The following day, the Japanese public broadcaster NHK reported that the hack was caused by a targeted ransomware attack. On June 5th, 2025, so essentially about 4 months ago, the company announced a new animation production label known as Eterna Animation, which would focus on original works, with the label's first work, Foxing, around the same time, with the short being released during 2026. On August 26th, so a little over a month ago, about 5 weeks ago, of that year, the company announced the establishment of another studio, Osaka. The Osaka studio would act as its second domestic animation studio, further expanding Toei Animation's production work, as well as recruiting artists from the Kansai region and build ties with the local community. So I guess trying to get fresh blood, you just hope that they don't run these animators into the ground like has been heard of anime studios over the years. Let's see. According to Toei Animation board member and head of production Kichiro Yamada, he states that the labor shortage in the Japanese animation industry is a serious issue, and the studio feels that it has an urgency to recruit creators and open studios across other regions in Japan, rather than having to deal with the Tokyo studio. Now, a lot of things are going down in Japan right now, and a lot of people are linking it directly to their birth rate crisis. As over the last few years, you've had fewer and fewer people actually going on and having families. The point to where even the Japanese diet, their governing has at times begged mangakas to create more romance-based manga to get people more in the mood, as it were. I remember a lot of people talking about that too. How that is kind of creeping on the thing there. All right, so with that being said now, here are some of the subsidiaries of Toei Animation. Of course, TAVAC, the Toei Audio Visual Art Center, Toei's recording facility that specializes in Japanese audio, video, and sound effects, and Japanese dubbing. So this is basically where if they're, I guess, where they go to do a lot of the audio work, maybe the ADR work. This is probably where they, when they're dubbing stuff from other countries like America or Europe or whatever, probably where they go to record that. Toei Animation Music Publishing, the music division. The company's music department and maintains links with the music publishers connected with TV stations, manufacturing corporations, and productions is probably where, of course, where you can find probably a lot of where the your favorite anime openings and endings um, can be found. Toei Animation Phils Incorporated, the Philippine division, the company's division that provides animation assistance for the majority of the Toei produced anime. Is a company that's based out of the Philippines, of course. Toei Animation Incorporated, US and LA division. Toei's division, located in Los Angeles, responsible for the program licensing of Toei produced series to North America, Latin America, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. Toei Doga US Services Incorporated, US domestic stock. Toei Animation Europe SAS, European division. Toei's European division, based in Paris, France. It engages in the production, marketing, and licensing of animation products in Europe. Let's see, you have the Hong Kong division, known as Toei Animation Enterprises Limited. Established in Hong Kong as a joint venture with Animation International Limited in 1997, it is a wholly owned subsidiary since 2009. And then you have the China division, Toei Animation Shanghai Company Limited. So now here are some of the productions that are here are some of the shows that are currently in production. Of course, the granddaddy of them all, with 1,138 episodes, having been around since 1999, so the last 26 years here. One Piece. Let's see. The 22nd, since the 22nd series of Precure, I guess that's Precure, 1018. Let's see. Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir since 2015. This one was produced by Europe with Zagoon Methods. They that's got to be a funny one. Butt Detective. And you notice how they spelled the word butt there, B-U-T-T. That's very interesting. They got 113 episodes out of that. Ladybug and Cat Noir got 131 and one over 1,000 for Precure there. Yeah. Butt Detective. That's a very interesting anime name, to say the least. Wonder what that show's about. Fart jokes galore. Fushigi Dagashio Zenitendo 2020 anime that ran for 135. Well, I must have recently, because this thing's in purple, so it basically means that I probably accessed it recently, I guess. Oh yeah, this is a children's novel. Oh, this is a series that I think they've been doing for a while. This is the latest iteration of it. See, from 2023 to 2025, Tosho, The Great Mission, 97 episodes. Two others, the web series Ellermon, and then the TV anime Surviving Science, started in 2024. So, we got basically 8 series, but one of them, I guess, is coming to a close. Let's see. Note, a few of these have no involvement by Toei Animation, but rather Toei Company financing other. So here are some of the TV anime, and I'll just go over some of the more well-known ones. But here are some of the hey, Metal. Butt Detective's head looks like a butt. Okay, you know what that kind of reminds me of? The because I know Adult Swim actually had an adult animation series called Assy McGee. I wonder if Butt Detective took its cue from Assy McGee. Especially with what you just said about it, Metal. He's a children's book character. Huh. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's one thing to teach kids about, right? But uh, Butt Detective is nothing like Ashley McGee. Uh, well, I don't know. I mean, you just said that the lead character in Butt Detective, his face looks like a butt. Um, and as I recall, Ashley McGee is literally just simply a butt with legs. I don't know that maybe in terms of content wise, it's probably not much similarity, but at least in appearance, I'd say there's at least some similarity. But I apparently you probably know more about that than I do, so that's cool. Glad you're contributing. I am seriously. Okay, so in the 19th, so here are some of the series, and I won't go over all. I'll just go over some of the more, of course, well-known ones, or some of the milestone ones. TV animation, 1960s. So let's see. Okami Shonen Ken, which ran from November 11th, 1963 to August 16th, 1965. Toei's grand debut in TV animation. It ran for 86 episodes, and one of the directors on it was one of the guys we had read earlier, Isao Takahata. Another one that I think was pretty well known at the time, Fujimaru of the Wind, ran from June 7, 1964 to August 31st, 1965. Ran for 65 episodes. Inspired by the manga Kazuno Ishimaru by Senpai Shirato, animated by Yasuji Mori. Yasuji Mori, an animator that we saw earlier, and Hayao Miyazaki. Anime was renamed Kaze no Fujimaru in order to associate it with its sponsor Fujisawa Pharmaceuticals, now Astellas Pharma. Let me see if Metal has anything more to say. No. I hope you didn't stop just because I was being a bit of a smart aleck. I do, in fact, appreciate what you had to say there on the matter. Good insight. Anyways, as we, of course, continue on here, let's see, what are some other ones here? I'll tell you. So here's Rainbow Sentai Robin. Ran for 48 and ran on. Okay, so ran all these apparently ran on NET at the time. Rainbow Sentai Robin, which ran from April 23rd, 1966 to March 24th, 67. Ran for 48 episodes. Adapted from the manga of the same name by Shotaro Ishimori, which was serialized in Kodansha's Weekly Shonen magazine throughout 1963, co-produced by Studio Zero. Let's see. The King Kong Show, directed by Hiroshi. King Kong Show ran for 25 episodes from September 10th, 1966 to August 31st, 1969. It is the first anime-based series produced in Japan for an American company, in parentheses, not counting Rankin Bass's previous Animagic stop-motion productions, which were also animated in Japan. So now I'm not sure if I'm correct on this or not, but I think the King Kong Show may have actually been a Saturday morning staple of the late '60s, I believe. I can't be too sure about that, but I think I do remember reading something before about there being a King Kong show on Saturday mornings. But let's see. I don't know if that was really the case here, but anyways, then we get to Sally the Witch, which of course aired for 109 episodes from December 5th, 1966 to December 30th, 1968. I believe this was a pretty popular series too. I just kind of wish somebody had dubbed it so we in the West could probably see it. Adapted from the manga, which was originally titled Sunny the Witch, upon first serialization, but by the time this program aired, it was changed to Sally the Witch by Mitsuteru Yokoyama, which was serialized in Shueisha's Ribbon magazine for girls. Episodes 1 through 17. Episode 1 through 17 episodes of this TV anime were filmed in black and white, and the remainder of the series, episodes 18 to 109, were filmed in color. Of course, this was around the time that Japan's televisions were making their way from black and white to color, just as America was. Making it one of the earliest color anime, alongside Mushi Productions' Kimba the White Lion in 1965 and Tatsunoko Productions' Speed Racer in 1967. Of course, Kimba and Speed Racer were two classics as well. Now, wouldn't that be an interesting lineup to be able to watch if we could, if somebody had ever decided to dub Sally the Witch? Could you imagine that lineup? Kimba, Sally, and Speed. That would be quite a lineup, I would say. Let me just. 33 minutes. And again, a friendly reminder, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. I'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So as we, of course, continue on through the 60s here, let's see, what else? Another one that we saw a lot of, Gay no Kitaro, which aired on Fuji TV for 65 episodes from January 3rd of 1968 to March 30th, 1969. Adapted from the manga Hakaba no Kitaro and Gege no Kitaro by Shigeru Mizuki, which were serialized in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine from 1960 to 1969. Then we get another big name for 26 episodes from April 5th to September 27th, 1968, Cyborg 009, which aired on NET, adapted from the manga Cyborg 009 by Shotaro Ishimori, which was serialized in Shonen Gahosha's monthly Shonen King. At the Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine, Akita Shoten's monthly Boken O, and Mushi Productions' Kom magazine from 1964 to 1969. It is also the continuation of the 1966-67 anime film series, although it is monochrome, unlike the films which were in color. Monochrome basically meaning black and white. So, anyways, I do need to step away from the computer for a moment, so I'll be right back as soon as I put some music on for you guys while I'm gone, and then we'll kind of try to continue this when we get back. I'll try to. I can see it's already 36 minutes after the hour, so when I come back, I'll try to speed things along a little bit. All right, I'm back. So into it. Let's see. Of course, you had Sabu no Ichi Toriomo Mono Kai co-produced with Mushi Productions and Zero Studio. Ran for 52 episodes. Let's see. Oh, here's something from Rankin Bass. Co-produced with Rankin Bass, a Smokey Bear show, which I know was a airing on ABC here in the States. Ran for 17 episodes from September of 1969, September 6, 1969 to September 5th, 1970. And then Tiger Mask, which aired on YTV, later Nippon TV, for 105 episodes from October 2nd, 1969 to September 30th, 1971. Tiger Mask was an anime about about a masked professional wrestler. It would actually inspire the first Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, to don the mask back in the 1980s. Probably considered one of the greatest junior heavyweights of all time, come out of Japan. Tiger Mask. There have been a few guys over the years who have since taken on continued the Tiger including the late Mitsuo Misawa. Um, he's the only one I can remember off the top of my head, but anyway, so that was some of the well-known ones from the 1960s. Then, as we get into the 70s here, let's see, any Maho no Mako-chan, which ran for 48 episodes from November 2nd, 70 to September 27, 1971. The second series, based on the Gigi no Kitaro manga, this one ran for 45 episodes from October 7, 1971, 4 years before I was born. Exactly 4 years before I was born. Ran from that date until September 28, 1972. Let's see. Devilman, which aired on Net TV from July 8, 1972 to April 7. Mazinger Z, which aired on Fuji TV from December 3rd, 1974 to September 1st, December 3rd, 1972 to September 1st, 1974, ran for 92 episodes, but I think only about half of that was dubbed. Only like 65 episodes were dubbed in English. See, Cutie Honey, which aired for 25 episodes from October 13th, 1973 to March 30th, 1974. Airing on Net. The original series, Magoko Megu-chan, airing for 72 episodes from April 1st, 1974 to September 29th, 1975. And then Getter Robo, the second original series, airing for 51 episodes on Fuji TV from April 4th, 1974. And then Great Mazinger as well. A lot of, let's see. They had a series on Shonen Tokugawa Ieyasu, which ran for 20 episodes on Net TV in 1975. And then the follow-up to the Getter Robo G, which ran for 46 episodes from May 18th, 1975 to March 25th, 1976. At the UFO Robot Grandizer. Let's see. Guy King, which was an original series on TV from 44 episodes. Candy Candy, 115 episodes, airing on Net TV, later TV Asahi, from October 1st, 1978 to February 2nd, 1979. Let's see. So the semi-sequel to Cyborg 009, Hyoga Senshi Guy Slugger. Let's see. Arrow Emblem Hawk of the Grand Prix, directed by Rintaro, aired on Fuji TV for 44 episodes from September 22nd, 1977, August 31st, 1978. Released in the US and elsewhere as a compilation called Super Grand Prix. And then, as we talked about earlier, with Rintaro as the director here, Space Captain on TV Asahi, Space Captain Captain Harlock, the Leiji universe, Leiji Matsumoto. Galaxy Express 999, airing on Fuji TV for 113 episodes from September 14th, 1938 or 1978 to March 26th, 1981. Captain Future, which aired on NHK General TV for 52 episodes from November 7, 1978 to December 18, 1979. Adaptation of the pulp fiction sci-fi stories by Mort Weisinger. I believe he was a guy from DC, I believe. The color remake of the Sunrise co-produced color remake of the original Cyborg 009, airing from March 6, 1979 to March 25th, 1980. All right, those are some of the. And then we get to the 1980s, of course. So the Space Emperor God Sigma, which aired for 50 episodes from 1980 to 81, airing on TV Tokyo. And then we have Go Lion. Hyakuju O Go Lion, which aired on TV Tokyo from March 4th, 1981 to February 24th, 1982, for 52 episodes. Go Lion Go Lion was made into a cartoon show here in the States. Does anybody in the chat want to fathom a guess of what American cartoon that was a part of? Here's a slight clue. Go Lion was merged with Dairuger 15 to form this show for America. Two shows were actually merged into one. Does anybody want to take a gander at what that show was? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voltron. Go Lion was basically merged with Dairuger 15 as Voltron. So Go Lion was, of course, the Lion Voltron robot. Dairuger 15 was the vehicle Voltron robot. Now, these were two distinctly different shows, yet the American company that dubbed these shows, merged them together and actually connected them. Even noting that Chip of, I think, the Dairuger series and Pidgey, I guess, in the Lion one, were actually cousins, at least in the dubbed universe. A little interesting tidbit there. Anyways, continuing on here. Let's see. Of course, Dr. Slump Arate-san ran for 243 episodes from April 8, 1981 to February 19, 1986. The adaptation of Akira Toriyama's manga of the same name. Of course, same guy who gave us Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball franchise. Another Tiger Mask Nisei from April 20th, 1981 to January 18th, 1982, running for 33 episodes. Of course, animes were run like 1 week, weekly. And here's the other one I was talking to you guys about earlier. Kiko Kantai Dairuger 15, which was aired on TV Tokyo for 52 episodes from March 3rd of 1982 to March 23rd, 1983. This again was the show that was merged with Go Lion to form Voltron, a Voltron cartoon. Let's see. And we continue on here. Let's see. The first Kinkuman anime with Tetsuo Imazawa and Yasuo Yamayoshi on directing. It aired from April 3rd, 1983 to October 1st, 1986. So it concluded its run exactly 39 years ago today. 137 episodes on Nippon TV. Let's see. Kinkuman, we would know it better, in its later incarnations as Ultimate Muscle. Let's see. Hokuto no Ken, Fist of the North Star, aired for 109 episodes from October 11, 1984 to March 5th, 1987. Of course, again, here in the States, we only got a smaller portion of that. The third series under the Gege no Kitaro name, Fuji TV. Mabletown Monogatari, or Mabletown Story, ran for 52 episodes from January 19th, 1986 to January 11th, 1987. And then, of course, Dragon Ball. Everybody knows about Dragon Ball. 1986, 1989. Again, another adaptation of Akira Toriyama work. Saint Seiya, which came out in 1986, ran from 1986 to 1989. And then Shin Mapletown Monogatari, Palmtown, broadcast in the U.S. On Nickelodeon as Mapletown. Then the second series of Fist of the North Star, known as Hokuto no Ken, airing for 43 episodes. The Headmaster series, which I just got through watching, it was, of course, this was first in a trilogy of Japanese exclusive Transformers shows, followed by Super God Master Force, which was then followed, of course, by Victory. Let's see. Sano Anime Sekai Maisaku Gekijo, which was an international co-production between the U.S. and Japan. Help from Korean and to the big star. This was but the scripts and voices were in English. It aired on CBS in the U.S. in 1987. Yeah, they did a lot of things here. Of course, we talked about Transformers Super God Master Force, the second in the trilogy, and Victory. Of course, Dragon Ball Z started up in 1989, ran until 1986. Part of the. So I'm guessing Sally 2 there is a follow-up to Sally the Witch from back in the 1970s. Then we get to the 90s, of course. Let's see. What are some? Getter Robo Go, Kikuman, Kinokuse Oe, Sodatsu Hin, Dragon Quest, Dino, Daipokon, airing for 46 episodes. Sailor Moon. Let's see. Sailor Moon R, Slam Dunk, Marmalade Boy, Sailor Moon S, Sailor Moon Supers. The fourth Gege no Kitaro series, His first work using original animation from episodes 64 onward. Dragon Ball GT, Sailor Moon Sailor Stars, Cutie Honey F, Dr. Slump again, second series under that name. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was produced. Actually, I believe this one was the what we in the States might call the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero season. This was the Japanese exclusive series that was never dubbed into English. Magical Do Re Mi, Digimon Adventure, Phantom Thief Genie, One Piece, which is still airing to this very day. The 2000s, of course, Oja Mango Doremi Sharp, original series, Digimon Adventures 02, Moto Doremi, Digimon Tamers, Kinkumon Tuesday, more Doraemon, Digimon Frontier, Airmaster, Zatch Bell, as we know it, Konjiki no Gosh Bell, Bobo, Bo, 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 Bobo. Try saying that one 3 times fast. Futari wa Precure, original series. More Ultimate Muscle, of course. Xeno Saga, the animation, based on the video game series by Namco. Precure Mat Cart. So just Ayakashi, Japanese classic horror. Only ran for 11 episodes. A lot of Digimon stuff. Air Gear. Air Gear is basically an anime about rollerblading. It's actually a pretty cool series. I've seen it. And of course, they got a cool opening theme too, Change. And they had a Powerpuff Girls anime, Japanese spin-off of the Powerpuff Girls Z. The 5th Gege no Kitaro series, Lovely Complex. Monoke. More Precure. Battle Spirits. Fresh Precure. Again, we're getting Dragon Ball Z Kai, which came out in 2009. Remastered of Dragon Ball Z. We get into 2010s. Let's see, more Digimon stuff. Precure Toriko came out in 2011 for 147 episodes. Saint Seiya Mega, 2012. Marvel Disc Wars, The Avengers. Japanese American co-production with Marvel Productions and Walt Disney Japan. Dragon Ball Kai. Remastered version of the Majin Buu saga that adheres more to the manga's story. World Trigger. Dragon Ball Super. Tiger Mask W, 3rd series. More 6th series, Gege, more Precure, more Gege no Kitaro. And then as we get into the 2020s here, of course, more Precure. Future's Folk Tales, which is original 13-episode original Digimon Adventures, a reboot of the original Digimon Adventures. We already talked about that one. Dragon Quest, The Adventures of Dai, Season 2 of World Trigger, Season 3 of World Trigger. So a lot of stuff that's come out from them over the years. All right, so that's as much as I'm going to do because I'm sure we're well past the time I initially intended to focus on all this. We do have to get to other news too. Yeah, we're already at the hour mark here, so I'm gonna have to hurry along here a little bit. I should have hurried along sooner, but I want to make sure we got through all that. So, anyways, a quick wrap up on what happened on last night's NXT, and tonight's looking ahead quickly to tonight's Dynamite as now they had announced last week that next week's NXT was going to be initially they were going to call the show Invasion based on the Invasion pay-per-view they used back during the Alliance storyline after WWE bought out WCW and ECW. Let me see now. But due to some backlash from Israel because of them calling it Invasion, and then of course the red V for the show, they decided to change the name. They decided to change the name to Showdown with the red W in the middle instead of a red V. Now the big hoodada was Israel believed it to be somewhat insensitive for the WWE to calling their show Invasion, especially for an October 7th show, in light of the fact that 2 years ago they suffered an invasion where a lot of people got killed. So WWE decided to change the name to Showdown. Even on the show, in storyline, Santino Marella even talked about, this is more of a showdown than an invasion. Basically, the show is going to feature talent from both NXT and TNA going up against each other. Heading into, of course, the following Sunday's Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which will, of course, will have Trick Williams and defending the TNA World Championship against Mikestand. Now, on last night's NXT show, of course, Jada Parker defeated Lash Legend in just over 9 minutes. Miles Bourne defeated Josh Briggs in over 10 minutes. Lola Vice defeated Fallon Henley as she continues her Vice, the two remaining members of Fatal Attraction, as it was recently announced that Jasmine Nix was let go from the company. And in the main event, Javon Evans teamed with TNA X Division champion Leon Slater to defeat the Cullings, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears, with Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley in their corner. So that's all that happened on last night's NXT. So now we're gonna look ahead real quick here to AEW's Dynamite, as soon as I can find that information. La 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 la. This might help. What am I do here? All right, so coming up on tonight's Dynamite, the 6-year anniversary, coming from the Hard Rock Live at Seminole Hard Rock Cafe Hotel and Casino Hollywood in Hollywood, Florida, airing on TBS. Kyle Fletcher defends the TNT for this the 6-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. Kyle Fletcher will be defending the TNT title against the recently returned Orange Cassidy. AEW World Heavyweight Champion Adam Page teams with 2/3 of the AEW World AEW Trios champions, the Ops, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe, to take on the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, and Jon Moxley. In a mixed tornado tag match, Darby Allin teams with AEW Women's World Champion Chris Statlander to take on the Death Riders, Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir. And in the main event, a 6-man tag match, Don Callis family's Josh Alexander teams with the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, take on AEW World Tag Team Champions Brodito of Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito and Brody King, and the returning Kenny Omega after he had been put out of action. So that's all we got for the wrestling wrap-up. So now we're going to move straight into the This Day in Each history. So hopefully you're all enjoying the show, and but anyways, let me just clear that out, and then let me just remind myself we got 1945, 85, 1935, and 1975. All right. So the first thing I would like to do, of course, I'd like to wish a happy 90th birthday. Happy 90th birthday to, let's see if I find it here. Happy 90th birthday to English actress and singer Julie Andrews, who, of course, most famously portrayed the character of Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins. She also provided the voice of Prince Zayla in the Singing Princess, Queen Lillian in the Shrek franchise, Marlena in the Despicable Me franchise, the narrator in Enchanted. So happy 90th birthday to English actress and singer Julie Andrews. Now moving ahead to the year 1945, as soon as I, of course, find the now moving ahead to the next piece of niche history here. We move ahead to the year 1945. On this date in the year 1945, the 30th issue of Catman Comics, Cat-Man, from Holyoke, went on sale under the name Continental Magazines Incorporated. Went on sale on this date back in 1945, 80 years ago today. It was a bi-monthly title, sold for 10 cents, was 64 pages. So on this date, 80 years ago today, the 30th issue of Catman Comics from Holyoke went on sale on this date back in 1945. Moving ahead to the year 1985. Year in 1985, approximately around this date, 40 years ago today, not listed specifically, but approximately on this date in 1940, Stampede Wrestling resumes operations after Vince McMahon sells the promotion back to the Hart family. Now, Vince McMahon had bought out Stampede Wrestling to basically have WWF at the time shows up there. This is at the time when he was initially trying to do his initial national expansion. He had also, of course, in 1984, bought out the Georgia Championship Wrestling Saturday time slot. But as a way, of course, of trying to raise funds for WrestleMania, he sold the companies back to their original, or sold a Turner time slot back after almost basically being run out of business because the Southern wrestling fans were not too keen on the WWF stuff. Let's see. So, with Stampede's return, its TV show on Calgary independent station CFAC TV also returns. Once again, hosted by Ed Whalen, syndicated to other markets in Canada and overseas. So, in early October here, that's pretty much of 1985. That's pretty much what happened. And finally, last piece of niche history here. On this day in 1975, I believe it's in. Find it. On this day in 1975, Nippon Animation's Arabian Nights Sinbad Adventures premiered on FNS, which would eventually become Fuji TV. So this is a co-production with Fuji Television Dentsu. Arabian Nights Sinbad's Adventures is a 52-episode anime series directed by Fumio Kurokawa and produced by Nippon Animation that first aired in 1975. The story is based on the children's story Sinbad the Sailor. All right, so with that being said, that's all we got for you guys tonight. So hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. Everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we're back here with more niche news tomorrow. Awesome, and we'll get you all caught up on what happened on last night's Dynamite. Look ahead to tomorrow night's Impact and Ring of Honor shows. Also, of course, get y'all caught up on all the. Hopefully by then we will be back to doing, some new stuff. Actually, if I can get my act together here. But with that, I do thank you, and then we'll be back here on Sunday with Apex as my co-host, as we will be doing the historical comic showcase. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.